Welcome back to another video. So in this video, what we're going to do is show you how to fit injectors and a fuel pump to a Corsa VXR. Yes, we haven't actually done one of these videos yet. We're doing it all the time. So expect to see some more videos on this, like changing your turbo core and things like that on this series. It's going to be like a little how-to series. We used to do these back in the day and it was very, very popular. They're still getting views now. So we're going to start bringing some of these back and show you how you yourself can start improving your own car without paying mechanics to do it, or us, for example. But we don't charge a fortune because they are pretty simple, very quick and an effective way. When you're changing your injectors and when you're changing your fuel pump, you will need a remap. You'll need to get both mapped in because the car will overfuel. It will probably still run, but not for very long, and you will cause lots of problems. So make sure you're getting them mapped in as quick as possible. First off, this engine we forged. If you didn't know that we forge, in the description, make sure you go to Rusty Autos on Facebook and get out for a forge. We forged the Corsa EVXR, Corsa DVXR, Astra H and Astra JVXR, along with some Fiesta stuff we do as well. So hit us up. So on this engine, obviously it's out of the car, it's a lot easier. On your actual car, you would have to disconnect your battery, the negative terminal, then you would have to take your wipers off and your scuttle. This allows access to this section of the engine. This is actually covered by that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight ahead and show you exactly which bits that you need to take off to replace these injectors. The injectors we are going to use are Bosch 613cc's, and Jack is just making sure the seals are all correct on the injectors. Don't forget to disconnect your fuel lines when it's in the car. You've got one here and one here. You need some fuel line pliers to put them back on as well. You've got these little tabs, so just line the tabs back up to the ones that's on the actual car, and that's how they push straight back on. Quick interruption on this video. We are dealers for Cobra, so on our website we've updated it to rustyautos.uk. Make sure you follow it down below. Go on there. We've got all the exhaust systems. We are cheaper than Cobra. We are cheaper than anybody on eBay. We've got Corsa DVXR, both years, pre-facelift, facelift, no bring additions, facelift and pre-facelift. Corsa EVXR, Astra HVXR and Astra JVXR exhaust. So for example, the Corsa EVXR, you want 3-inch turbo back system, the full system. We have 24 different options on there for you guys to choose from. So make sure you jump on there for the cheapest Cobra exhausts that are out there. Again, cheaper than Cobra themselves. So make sure you jump on that and get ordering. rustyautos.uk. First off, disconnect the top plug for the ECU. You need a little flat blade screwdriver. Push it down the back of this grey section. Pull that over and it pulls up. Then you want a T30 for the ECU earth as well, because the ECU actually has to come off. Yes, it is usually there.
It's a T25, but someone's put it in the wrong place.
Who's that?
I don't know, because the threads are non-existent in there, so I'm going to guess the person who done it before.
Yeah. You come across this a lot with the cars, so it will be in there, but like I said, T25 usually in there, and then the T30 for the corners. So you want to take all four out, then you need to swing the ECU off. This allows you to get hold of the fuel rail. The fuel rail is actually sat right here. There's the pressure regulator, and then it goes all the way down to the other side. So this section of the loom has to come off as well, so you just pull that up, like so. And the injector plugs are here, 1, 2, 3, 4. They need to come off as well. They are just literally 2 push clips either side, and then they pull out, but you're best off getting some long nose pliers to get down in that crevice. So what we got here, Jack?
You can either use a 8mm on quarter drive ratchet or an E10 socket.
So what we're doing here is taking the base off the ECU. This allows us access to actually be able to get to the fuel rail, because you can see right there the fuel rail sat here, so that has to come off regardless. You don't really have a choice. It's the only way you're going to get to it with a decent amount of room, because you ideally want to be removing the fuel rail itself and taking it fully out. I'm just going to get a torch if we've got some charge, just so you guys can see a bit better. There we go. So you've got the breather pipe on top of the inlet manifold, so they just push together and squeeze, and then you have to use a flathead just to push it up. Be careful on them because they can break. but Jack is a fully trained professional because he's done this many times. The clip, here we go, look, with the pliers for the 4 plugs. So this, like I said, there's 2 metal plastic clips. You can just see it on the one he's going for.
Metal plastic clips.
Metal plastic clips. Wow, good English. They squeeze together and it just pulls apart. So basically what you're doing here is you're taking off some of the loom, the injector rail loom, and then from the side bit is also pulling the loom off that section, which goes across the coil pack. Unplugging the coil pack as well, which is just a quick squeeze clip. Once he's done that, he's then going to remove the breather off the back of the rocker cover. These have a one-way valve in these rocker covers, which like to fail, so that's where it fails around there. You have to replace the rocker cover, not just the valve. Moving around, he's taking the vac line off of the fuel pressure regulator, which sits on the bottom. And then he is using the same socket with a quarter drive 8mm for the 2 bolts for the fuel rail. So there's one just there where he's at, and then there's also one sat right there as well, which you'll just see him go for now. Now these can be awkward to get out, can't they? Yeah. They can be really stiff, so you may have to use something just to help you pry it out, but make sure you pry it out evenly. This is important, evenly, a bit like you should do on a coil pack. So Jack's just going to get something to aid him there because it's not wiggling. He's going to get something very small. I'm not using that. So once he's put that in there and pries it up, that will give him access to the fuel rail itself to be able to pull it out. So as you can see, he's doing it equally and evenly. Like I said, we're showing you this in real time. Obviously in the car this is a little bit different. You would still have to use the same principle, but this is why you take the scuttle off and you take the wipers off as well. So now Jack removes the fuel rail, and yes,
fuel over myself.
It will drip a lot of fuel. So there's the fuel rail. That was a very good catch. So there's the fuel rail, and now we're going to get on to replacing the injectors. Here we have a set of 4 injectors. These are 613cc injectors. Now we've been doing these for a very long time. You have a number which is on here. I don't think that's going to focus because it's not very good at focusing straight up. There's a number sat here. That ends in 123 for 613 injectors. For 395cc it ends in 124, and then for stock it ends in 108. So what we're going to do, jump straight into this now. We just put a bit of cardboard on the floor to make it easier, so you guys can see. There's metal clips that just push off just like that. Push the back, push the back, push the back, and then once that's done, give them a little wriggle.
Yep, weigh in.
You weigh in. A fuel will come out, so make sure you do this in a secure environment and make sure there's no electrics left on. This is why we tell you to disconnect your negative on your battery. They can be very stiff to come out.
A few moments later.
There we go, one down. So the others...
Seal's still in there though.
Yeah, make sure you take the seal out. There is a black seal in there that sits on the injector itself. It sits on this top part right here. So make sure you have a seal on the bottom, which you can see there. It's a brown seal. That, if that doesn't come out, then that should probably still be in the inlet manifold. And then you have a black seal that sits on the top as well. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of fuel going everywhere, but this is what happens, unfortunately. So this is why we say, do it in a safe environment. Make sure you are cleaning this up. This will get cleaned up after. This is obviously for the purpose of this video. Now, Jack's going to check, make sure the seals come out. If you look here, there's a seal still in there. So you have to make sure that all those do come out. And to actually install the injectors, you make sure you use a bit of grease on there. Make sure the seals are intact, and make sure there's no splits in them. Like I said, you've got the top seal and then you've got the bottom seal. You have to make sure that both of those seals are there to actually make this work properly. So, make sure you're doing it properly. So Jack's got the seal and the grease here. He's going to grease them up, and then he's going to pop them straight back in. So you can see here, he's just going around it. He's going around both seals on both sides, not just one, because obviously he needs to put it back in the inlet manifold, and that just helps it pop in. You know, don't win drive, boys. This tab here has to line up with this tab. You wiggle it in, just like so. And then you put your metal clip straight back over the same way it came off. Make sure you double check that as well. That's one injector replaced.
Just to make sure it clips over there as well.
See that there? There's like a little bit of metal sits outside. Make sure it connects both sides. You should be able to feel that metal on either end. That way you know that it's actually secured in there. Now Jack's going to finish doing those injectors, and then to put them back in, reverse the process. We're not going to show you that again. We did you in real time. You literally do the same thing. Make sure you connect everything back up. Make sure you connect that earth back up on the ECU, because you don't want to be starting the car without that there, because you'll have some problems. So make sure you follow those steps in reverse. What we're going to do is, I think we're going to leave the fuel pump to another video, because this has already gone on for quite some time because we've left it in real time. So apologies if I said fuel pump at the beginning. I'm going to just name the video for the injectors, but I think it's worth it to give it the benefit that it needs a full video for each bit, so you guys can actually enjoy that and follow the steps that we've actually done. It's worth doing it, just so people know that you can change your injectors. And I do state this as well, you have to get it mapped after you've installed these injectors. Do not drive the car, do not start the car. Just make sure that you get these injectors mapped in straight away. Anything to fuel in or anything like that, get your car mapped. Make sure it's mapped properly, and make sure that everything is accounted for. Otherwise, you'll have problems, a lot of problems. So make sure you follow them steps.